Today, I'm Joan Aguon Charfauros, and joining me via Zoom, I have Savvy Diaz. Day.
Half a day, Joan.
So, the reason why I actually wanted to talk to you, I had seen over the weekend the Roy Anthony Munoz project, and I wanted to find out more about it. I know that it was in honor and in memory of your dad. And, I definitely want to get to the project and its purpose, but we know that it wouldn't be possible without your dad. And for many people that maybe listen to the news and kind of keep up to date, they only knew your dad as the 82nd COVID related fatality. But for those that did know him, he was a devoted and loving husband, father, grandfather, son, brother. For those that weren't lucky enough to know him, how would you describe your dad?
Sorry, you're just making me get emotional, but he was a family man, and he was always, checking. He was known for checking in on everybody, and he was very involved in my sister and I's life, and he couldn't get enough of spending time with his great 3 grandchildren, my 2 daughters and my sister Tiara's daughter Sayla. And so, and a lot of people didn't know this about him, but he was a very, giving person. He would make it a point to, he was known in the homeless community as someone that really helps. He would go to them, just talk to them, make it an effort to try and get them to get housing by taking them personally to help them sign up for it, helping them with their kids, even taking this blind homeless man to his doctor's appointments. He didn't believe in getting recognition for these things, but he is the type of person that, he was. Sorry.
The thing about it too is like going through some of the photos of your dad, he's always smiling. I think he has that infectious smile. And of course, I see it in like you and your sister too. Like the smile is just, it resembles your dad. How can you take us back to, I guess, when and where he found out that he was COVID positive?
So, it just crept up really fast. He's very vigilant, in making sure that he doesn't go out that often, and that he's very concerned about sanitation. So it was very shocking when he did get sick. And even up to, he even had the oxygen meter, so he was monitoring that as well. And so on October 19th, which was my birthday, actually, we were just talking casually. And that night he just wanted to get fresh air because he felt short of breath. And so he told my mom, his oxygen was at 85. And he said, if I feel like this in the morning, I'm just going to go in and get checked. And I think he tried getting checked a few days prior, but at the time, they were only saving the tests for people that really had symptoms, and he didn't really have anything other than maybe feeling slightly under the weather. And so when he went in that morning, we found out that 85 is just way too low. And that's something that we didn't know at the time. I think if you're under 94, it's already bad. And so they rushed him straight to the hospital from AMC. And from then he was just there. So it was 15 days that he was there. And, as you can tell, he's a very positive person. And he went in well aware of the situation and what was happening at the hospital, how the medical teams are overloaded, just the craziness of everything. And he went in positive, but it was quite a struggle for him, as time went on. And so that's why we want to start this project, because it really brought to light. And unfortunately, that you have to go through a situation like this to understand what's happening if you're not in the front line, So unfortunately, it took this situation to realize what people are going through. But I think my family and I feel compelled that we have to do something just to make it better for everybody else going through it right now.
I know you were mentioning, prior to us starting to record the Zoom, during that time when he's in the hospital, family members can't be present. And I was mentioning to you too, like when my daughter's boyfriend was in the hospital, and she said that it wasn't so much the physical, it was more of the emotional toll it took, because you're not there. And how was that for the family? Did you communicate through phone calls and FaceTime?
Yes, I think we were fortunate in this whole unfortunate situation that he was tech savvy. He was able to call us. He was prepared. So he brought his phone. He had his charger and everything. And so from the get-go, he was communicating with us. And so that was great. But even at that, I think when people go to the hospital, it's a time when families pull together, and even friends, and you visit, you support physically. You never leave your family member by themselves. It's just something that I think everybody can understand, that we don't do. But with this situation with COVID, we all understand the situation and how it could spiral out of control if we start letting people in, and to take care of your loved ones, and then you end up having to be hospitalized. It could snowball into that. And so we understand, but it's very heartbreaking. It's so horrible. And just to think that we were fortunate that he could do that, and there could be so much, maybe other people that don't have their phones or that don't know how to facilitate video calls. So I think the boards were just a start. There's already another project that I want to work on now that we got that out there.
Speaking of the boards, how soon after? I know you were already mentioning that when your dad was in the hospital, there was already that issue of communicating, and that's kind of how the idea came about. How soon after your dad passed that the project kind of, I know that you mentioned that you worked with the GMH staff in finding out what exactly they need and what they can use to help better facilitate correspondence between a COVID patient and family.
I wanted to, like I said, we got the board to him the day before he passed away. And ever since then, I've been dying to get these boards, but I wanted to do it the right way. And so I think it wasn't till maybe 3 weeks ago that we started talking. I reached out to Lillian Perez Posadas, and she was so grateful that she took the time with her busy schedule to listen to me. And from there, she had her assistant Theo Pangilinan kind of bring the board sample to the nursing administrators there to take a look at it and see what would work, what needed to be adjusted. And so once that happened, the ball got rolling really quickly, and we just got it in. Thankfully, we got it in on Christmas Eve. So I'm, hoping, and I didn't want to bother them, but I'm hoping that, people really were able to use it and maybe say, things that they wanted to say by writing, because my dad really tried. He loves to talk, and he would, if we meet up with him, he would talk our ears off. Like, so for him to be on oxygen and just trying to repeat himself to say something that's like a 3-letter word, trying to draw it out in the air for us to understand him, because the oxygen machine was so loud, is really difficult. So hopefully the boards were able to just help out in any small way.
I know, so it's 2-sided board, right? So the one side is like a dry erase board, right? And then the other side.
I wish I brought it with me, but it's out there. But yes, one side is the dry erase for them just to elaborate. The other side is it just kind of addresses all needs. So you can, the basic physical needs, and like whether you want to get up, turn to the side, or if your lips are dry, if you want it wet, water, pillow, blanket. And I've just been doing a research on just patient advocacy in general. And, you know, the simplest thing as a blanket or pillow can make a humongous difference. You know, sometimes they're not able to say that, you know, how do they get that out in time, you know, before the nurses are done with their job. So hopefully, you know, this will things just so much easier also for the medical staff. Um, you know, I'm sure it's hard for them not knowing what the patients are feeling, you know.
So when was it that you and your family
Yeah.
made
So
so when was it when you and your family made the delivery to GMH of these boards?
it was the morning of Christmas Eve. So thankful that we were able to make it there in time for Christmas. Yeah, Theo met us out in the front, and you know, he said he would get it straight up to the COVID ward. So I'm really grateful about that. And since we've kind of put it out there, you know, there's been other people asking for it for people that are not in the COVID ward, because, you know, they also cannot have their family members there to support them, and some of them do have a difficulty speaking.
About how many boards did you donate to GMH?
And so we were basing off of the numbers right now.
Mm-hmm.
So and it was also a little bit difficult to find these size boards, and so we just made 30 for now, which is more than enough for, I think there's only 17 COVID patients right now. But now that we have the template, we know what's needed, you know, we can make it as needed. And I think, you know, that's why I didn't realize at the time, but I did a GoFundMe page just to keep it going in case, you know, other people, it seems like other people need these as well. And even for non-hospitalized people who have someone mentioned their mom had a stroke and she can't really speak or communicate. And so she was asking for a board. And so, you know, I think I didn't realize that it could be used like that as well. And so, and just to bring that to light, my second project is to have dedicated tablets in each COVID isolation room. And, you know, the hospital does have tablets, you know, but they're limited in that the entire hospital can't have visitors. And so they're also using it for the other wards. And so, but these COVID patients are specifically, you know, uniquely stressed, given that COVID is so unknown. They don't really know what's going to happen. You know, they're really isolated in that. We also have to watch out for our medical team as well. And so I think that having these tablets there where the doctors can facilitate a call at the point where they're briefing the patient, and also when the nurses come to doing their rounds, could really ease the patient. And normally families would be there during those crucial times. But I think that we could leverage technology and bring them to them, you know, during these times. And the patients during these briefings sometimes may feel emotional and maybe not really comprehend exactly what's happening. And so to have the family there at the same time will enable the family to communicate to their family member and support them better. Because I think that was a struggle that we had, is that we, you know, of course the nurses and doctors would keep us updated, but to exactly know how to support my dad and to go off what they were telling him, you know, was really hard. And I think they also get overwhelming call center or, you know, the nurses station. So our hopes is that this will ease the burden on the nursing station as well. And, you know, if families know that they're going to be able to be there during these meetings, I'm certain that they'll make it a point to be available during those times, because otherwise they would be there, you know, physically with them. And so that's the second project. And also to get the stands for the tablets so that they can kind of roll it around the room as needed.
And, you know, we're seeing the numbers, the COVID numbers decrease, and they're rolling out the vaccinations slowly. But there's still that need out there for the community to remain vigilant, to continue to wear the masks and practice social distancing. Is there anything that you wanted to get out to the community to really emphasize that and to still, keep your guard up?
Yeah, I mean, we were so vigilant, and yet it still impacted us in the worst way you can imagine, and you just don't know. And so you just have to constantly be careful, because I think it's just been said so many times, it's an invisible enemy. You don't know where it's at. And so, just being mindful of that and not feeling like, not giving into being tired of this, and just saying, whatever, you still have to do your part so that we don't go back there. Because when my dad was there, it was at the height of the hospitalizations. Horrible, it's horrible to know that there's that many people there, and that and when there's that many people there, the nurses and the doctors are stretched thin, and there's only so much they can do as humans, and so we don't want to go back there.
Now, if there's any families, and you mentioned that some had actually reached out to you to find out how they can avail of the boards. I guess if they want to, for whether it be COVID or non-COVID patients, I mean, how's the best way to kind of go about it?
So created a Facebook page. It's facebook.com/Roy Anthony Munya Project, or they can email me at the royanthonymunyaproject.com. I think Facebook would probably be the easiest, because you could just message the page and I'll respond there. And if there's anybody or even organizations on island that want to help out, there's the donation page, or you can reach me directly. But I'd really love to get the ball rolling on this next project, and just get those tablets in there, to bring the families together with the patient on a regular basis.
And is there anything else that you wanted to get out? I know that you had mentioned that the dedicated staff at GMH, when your father was there, and is there anything that you wanted to get out to maybe them?
I'd just like to say thank you for your hard work and the sacrifices that you guys are taking, constantly worrying about your own family, your own safety, and still willing to come in to help the community, is so admirable. And we want to help you too. I can see the community coming together to help you guys, and that's part of one of the projects that we want to work on as well. And you guys are so brave to see all this happening, support the families, and still hold it together. Thank you.
Savvy, anytime that you need to get the word out, whether it be getting assistance and really pushing ahead on this second project or anything, please, you know how to get a hold of us, and we'll definitely get the word out there so the community can come together and make this come to fruition.
Thank you. Thank you, Joan and KUAM.